I do want to address the gun issue, okay? The Orlando nightclub shooter, Omar Mateen, legally purchased the guns that he had on him quite recently, even though he has been known to law enforcement for years, as federal officials confirmed. As I've said many times, the gun angle is not the only angle that matters here, but it is an angle that does matter. And law enforcement sources told ABC News that he had a .223 caliber AR type rifle as well as a Glock handgun on him at the time of the shooting, which the ATF says he purchased legally. News of the purchases came as officials confirmed that he was interviewed 3 times by the FBI in the years leading up to this horrifying mass shooting, which is the biggest mass shooting in U.S. history. Such information would not show up on a background check because the cases were closed. And law enforcement sources confirmed that Mateen was on the FBI's radar, but not necessarily on a watch list anyway. And as we know, Lewis, even being on the watch list wouldn't have prevented him from obtaining weapons. ABC News consultant and former acting Homeland Security Undersecretary John Cohen said, being on the watch list is not in itself disqualifying under law. Cell phone camera video footage filmed by civilians outside the Pulse nightclub where this took place reported allowed us to hear 20 shots fired in rapid succession in a 9-second stretch. This high rate of fire also suggests the shooter had what is called a high-capacity magazine, which can hold more than 10 or 15 rounds. These have been used by many mass shooters. The shooters in the San Bernardino attacks, which led to 14 people dying, had these magazines that held 30 rounds each. And in 2012, we saw a mass shooting that used magazines that held over 10 rounds. So again, Lewis, people say the laws won't matter. The laws do make a difference around guns. It is absolutely true that it is possible to get one of these high-capacity magazines, even if you make them against the law. Changing a law doesn't prevent someone from doing something. But there's no doubt that if you make illegal the manufacture of such magazines, fewer of them will be in the system available for purchase, both legally and by virtue of that in the black market. And thus it wouldn't be impossible for a shooter to get one of them, but it would be more difficult because there are fewer of them around. And then he would not have been able to fire as many rounds in this short period of time. And more than likely, fewer people would have been killed. These are mathematical realities. And when people say, hey, listen, people who want to do a shooting are going to break the law, you can't do anything by passing a law, I don't think you really understand the point of passing laws.
Yeah. If no law really prevents anyone from doing anything, right? It's like we talked about before, it's a deterrent. And there's no doubt that there are any number of common sense laws we could have applied here that would have either prevented this or made it much more difficult for this to happen.
And I agree.
The amount of people killed.
That alone is not the solution. I am not one of these people who says the only thing we need to do is change gun laws. There's no doubt about it. But too many people online are saying that the gun laws don't matter. It's important to understand the distinction. Laws aren't created to prevent crime in the sense that a law being written doesn't physically prevent someone from committing a crime. But the point is, number one, you establish a framework for punishment for those who break a law. And number two, you want to make some people, not all, some people will think twice about committing a crime if a law is in place because of, number one, its deterrent effect. And in the case of if you make it illegal to manufacture these magazines, more than likely the manufacturers are not going to make them. And that will trickle down. Lots of stuff doesn't trickle down, like tax cuts for the rich. But it will trickle down because there will be fewer of these available in the system, both on the legal and black market. So we need to understand this. The gun angle is not the sole solution, but immediately you see people saying, we can't even consider doing anything on the gun front because it wouldn't make a difference. You're living in a fantasy world, if that's what you believe.
I can point to any number of countries where we can offer proof that gun control actually does help.
We are on Twitter. I'm on Twitter at @Pakman. Lewis is on Twitter at Lewis Motamedi. We will take a break. Plenty more coming up today. I've talked about how people of all ages, but particularly millennials, are owning cars less and participating more in the sharing economy. And one of the more popular options is Zipcar, which gets you a car when you want it, when you need it. They offer all sorts of cars, SUVs, hybrids, whatever you need. It includes insurance and it includes gas. You just pay for the time that you actually use the car, and you can reserve the car online from your smartphone over the phone. Then you unlock it with your Zip card. Each car share member reduces their personal CO2 emissions by between 1,100 and 1,600 pounds per year. For our audience, Zipcar is offering $25 of free driving credit if you sign up at joinzipcar.com/David. Support our show, reduce your carbon emissions and your spending on cars. Sign up at joinzipcar.com/David.